All right, guys, welcome back to another Master and Apprentice video and podcast. So, as you guys can tell from the title and thumbnail, we're going to be doing another review. And this review is going to be going over the brand new Captain America: A Brave New World. This just came out February 14th, a brand new MCU Marvel movie. I gotta say this is probably one of the most anticipated Marvel movies just because it's had such delays, just so many different issues going on with it, with reshoots and like the strikes. So all of that being said, you know, there's a lot going on in line with this one. We anticipated a lot, so we're not gonna get into too much of, you know, politics behind it. We're just gonna give you a review of, is it a good movie? Would you enjoy it? And obviously, there's some subjectivity to it. Movies are art, right? Film is art. So what I might enjoy, someone might not. But in general, you can give a sense of, is it good or bad, right? The editing, the acting, the dialogue, the plot, just things like that in general can be good or bad, objectively. So with that being said, Athen, what are some things you liked and then disliked?
Spoiler alert, by the way, if we hadn't said it yet already, because I'm gonna be spoiling a little portions of it, saying what I like. But one of the big things I did like was President Ross's kind of character development. We see in the Incredible Hulk and then in Captain America: Civil War, he kind of plays an antagonistic role, even though he's not technically a bad guy. And in this, he kind of really turned that around towards the end of the movie and kind of come full circle kind of thing. There was a couple new characters introduced in this movie, and whether or not you like how they were presented, I think they, at the bare minimum, looked really good. I think Red Hulk looked really good. I think some of the scenes with him were really fun and exciting. I like Falcon's new vibranium wings. I think that's a really cool addition that works really well. One of the things I didn't really love about the movie was the leader. I didn't think he was horrible by any means. He's just not my favorite. I thought that he had some good parts to him where he really did outsmart everyone. We didn't know who he was. He seemed to be 5 steps above everyone, in front of everyone. But I did kind of think that he just got outsmarted a little bit. I feel, in my opinion, you didn't think Captain America was a big part of the situation enough to account for, which I don't think that's horrible. It doesn't take away from the movie a ton for me, but I do think that if the leader is this probability machine in his mind, thinking of literally everything and every possible outcome, that, I don't know, thinking Captain America is a possible outcome would have been one of the top things to think of.
Yeah, I would have to agree. I feel like the antagonists of this movie were a little bit weak. Red Hulk was pretty good, but for all intents and purposes, he wasn't much of an antagonist. He had like the final scene fighting, but he wasn't really present for any of the movie. It was mostly the leader and like Sidewinder. And Sidewinder was fine, but he was supposed to be like a mini boss, if you will. The leader is supposed to be the main antagonist, and I thought his plot was pretty weak. I didn't like even his appearance. I thought the makeup and prosthetics of him just didn't look good, and not just because they looked inaccurate to the comic sources, but just because I just didn't think it looked good. The leader is not supposed to be like this grueling, evil, like Frankenstein looking guy per se. It's more about his intelligence, right? And I feel like when they made his focus about like how he looked and how gruesome he looked, I feel like it took away a little bit from who the leader is supposed to be. I gotta say, something I enjoyed was I appreciate the difference between Sam Wilson and Steve Rogers. Steve Rogers works in a different way as Captain America than Sam Wilson, right? Sam Wilson, I think, is a Captain America, but he's a different Captain America, right? He's not the same. And I appreciate that, because I wouldn't want someone to come in and try to be like Steve Rogers. It would feel dishonest and disserviceable. You didn't get that. But the problem with that is the reason Steve Rogers works as Captain America is because Captain America's most important trait isn't that he's a super soldier and he has super strength and he has super speed, and no, it's his leadership. It's the fact that he can be a great leader in any situation, and that's what makes him great in both comics and movies. And Sam Wilson, it's kind of hard to imagine him because he's so different and so less serious and not much of a leader, it seems like at times, it's hard to see him fulfill that Captain America role. So, in the same vein and sense, I think Sam Wilson works as Captain America, but I also think sometimes it can be a problem. It's kind of hard to get around. I think maybe the alternative can be something like we have in comics, right? Where there's two Captain Americas, Steve Rogers Captain America and Sam Wilson Captain America. And while it can be confusing, it works for the most part. I think it would have been just safer just to stick with the past and have the Falcon and Captain America. But if you want to have a Sam Wilson Captain America, I think it's fine. But it's kind of hard to differentiate, I think, him to be a leader. So I think that's something I struggle with. Overall, I thought the plot of the movie was fine. I didn't think it was anything terrible. I didn't think it was anything, super great. It tried to give off some vibes like the Winter Soldier Captain America. And while it's similar, it's just a weaker plot in general than that. So it's nothing terrible, but it's serviceable, I think. Overall, we can get into many more spoilers, but I think this movie is serviceable. I don't think it's terrible. I don't think it's really great either. But it's okay, For Sam Wilson's debut on the big screen, I think it's good. I think they could have done more. I think him having some help would have been, which is crazy because they had Harrison Ford as the Red Hulk. I don't know how much more help you can get, but if you think about it, Steve Rogers, he had a lot of help in the second movie, right? Winter Soldier, Nick Fury, Black Widow, the Falcon, and in the third movie, he had literally all the Avengers, right? He had lots of help to kind of promote and move his story arc forward. And I think this will be serviceable for now, but if they want to see success with Sam Wilson moving forward, I think they got to give him some more help, just to push his story arc, because I wouldn't say he's bland and dry as a character, but at times he feels like it. Besides that, I think something that really shines for me in this movie is the fight scenes. I don't think there was really any fight scene that I disenjoyed. I think the only thing I didn't like from the fight scenes maybe would be the Falcon, Joaquin Torres. I thought sometimes he was a little goofy. I think they were trying to play into that sometimes a little too much, but he didn't have enough screen time in fight scenes for me to really count that against it. Right? All the fight scenes with Cap, with the Red Hulk, CIA or Israeli CIA lady, I forget her name, I think it's Sabra or something like that. All of those fight scenes were incredible. I thought they were just good. I didn't think there was anything wrong with those, and I think that's another part to enjoy it. What it means going forward for the Marvel Cinematic Universe, I don't know. It didn't really set anything up. It felt like a very, I don't know, like on its own kind of story. Obviously, there's a post-credit scene. I mean, I'm not going to spoil it too much, but you kind of get the gist just by, saying all they say is something's coming, right? So, it's kind of lame, but I see what they're trying to do with it. They're trying to set up the next couple movies, but they don't really do much. They just say something's coming. Be ready. You know what I mean? Like, that's it. So, overall, it's a serviceable movie. I think I could go into a lot more, but I think I hit on the main points of it. What would you give it out of 10 as a rating out then?
I think I'd give it like a 7.5 out of 10. It really kind of gives me those Spider-Man Homecoming vibes where it doesn't really matter a ton to the main plot, but it's a kind of good setup for the character. And it has its own story that kind of comes to a close to an extent. I liked it a good bit. I really did.
Yeah, I want to be fair, but, it's kind of hard when... and without being biased, Steve Rogers is my Captain America. He's always going to be. And so I'm trying not to let that bias affect how I enjoy and review this movie. And it's not because, Steve Rogers is white and I'm white. And so I just like the character of Steve Rogers. He's probably my favorite character in the MCU overall. I just really love that character. And so when someone comes in for all intents and purposes replaces him, it's kind of hard for me to, not be biased over Steve Rogers, right? But I think if you take that out of mind, and just say Sam Wilson's Captain America, how did you like his film? Don't worry about the other Captain America, Steve Rogers. I would probably give this a 6.5 out of 10. It's a serviceable movie. I don't think it's anything special. I wish they could have done more with the leader. I feel like he had some great potential, and they didn't kill him off, right? So I think that's a good thing. Marvel has had problems with antagonists in the past, but more than that, they've had a problem with killing them off too quickly, and then they don't have them to work with moving forward. They left him alive, and so we can have that, potential moving forward, and I think that's good as well. But in this movie, I don't think he worked. And the other thing is, for how much they advertised the Red Hulk in the trailer, pretty much what we see in the trailer is pretty much all we get in the movie, which is very strange. It's a strange advertising tactic, strange promoting tactic to me. And I think maybe more Red Hulk would have done this movie some justice. But, I don't know. I don't know if that's a bad thing or good thing. When you want more of something, I don't know if that's necessarily bad. I mean, it means it worked, right? But yeah, and I think Harrison Ford did great as Thaddeus Ross. So, all that being said, I think 6.5 is what I'd give it. It's serviceable. I think if you like the MCU, you'll enjoy this. If you're like a casual fan of the MCU, I don't think you'll be detracted. I don't think this movie will do anything to upset you. I think it's just fine. If you're like a person who really only likes the big stuff for the MCU, this might be a skip, to be honest. It's nothing crazy. Like Thor 2, right? It's nothing like super important, right? The stuff that's super important, you can get in Cliff Notes later on, right? So, yeah, a 6.5 is probably what I'd give it. Let us know what you guys think down in the comments, what you guys reviewed the movie, how you liked it, if you didn't like it or not. Let us know if you guys agree or disagree with us on this review, if it's based or not. I like to kind of be in a circle, and I like to see what people feel about a movie when it comes out. And I think I'm relatively kind of in the middle. It seems like there's some people who hate this movie, some people who love it, but for the most part, it's like an average Marvel movie, right? And box office wise, it's doing fine. Unfortunately, it got one of the worst cinema scores in all of MCU history. So how that will affect it going forward, we'll see. But that's a testament, I think, to more of the fandom than this movie. This is not the worst Marvel movie. Not even close, right? It's not an argument. But it's going to be interesting to see how this does box office-wise going forward. So with all that, like I said, hope you guys enjoy this video and podcast. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe. And don't forget to hit that follow and download if you guys are listening on podcast. Anything else, Afton?
That's it for me.
See you guys in the next one.
Peace.